Hello again, Sandwich. I'm Greg Anderson, and welcome into another conversation, one of many, I think 7,000 I've done today, just today, on all of our races and the contested races, in fact, for the upcoming May 5th election. Here we are talking about the Board of Selectmen. So we have invited all of the candidates to come in, and we are having these one-on-one discussions. Today we talk about that four-way race for 2 open seats. My guest today sitting next to me is Doug Allen. Doug, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you in the studio and talking with you. So tell me a little bit about, we've met, never met
No.
today. Who are you? What's Doug Allen all about?
My family moved here in 1972 when there was a smaller town, and I enjoyed the town. I've stayed here my whole life and have a house on Main Street and married with 2 kids. One's a merchant marine and the other one's a Wellfleet police officer. I've seen the town slowly change over the many years, and not that it's a bad town, it's just not going in the direction that I would like to see it.
Yeah, and we're going to really talk about that. I'm interested in your perspectives. I think there's always something refreshing about somebody who has never run for office, who is not a career politician, who steps up and says, I want to do something for my community. What brought you to saying, yeah, I'm going down to Taylor White's office, I'm going to pull those papers, I'm going to do this? What brought you to that?
There was 2 things. The first thing is just the financial way the town's going, the way they're spending. They seem to want everything new and clean, and they really don't want to take care of the older stuff. And the second thing was, I went to the town offices to look into a complaint that I had, and it seemed that I went around in circles. I went to like every board, and nobody seemed to be responsible. And everybody just sort of passed the buck, and I just got mad and went down and pulled my papers that day and turned them in the following Monday.
You pulled them in that day?
I got them on a Friday and went down and got my papers and then turned them back in Monday morning.
Yeah. How is campaigning for you?
I'm really not much of a campaigner.
Yeah.
I talked to a few people. I wasn't even going to put up signs, but my friends all talked me into it. And so I put up a sign that says, I am voting for, because I waited for people to ask me for a sign. I really don't like seeing signs around town. I've always been against it. But I'm doing it. I've been told I have to do it, and
yeah,
I'm doing it slowly.
Yeah, there's a necessary evil.
I would say that, yes.
And you're not on social media.
Not at all. No Facebook, no Twitter, no nothing. I still own a flip phone, and I barely use that.
All right. God love you. So when we look at you, let's say you got the win, and you and one other person are now on the newly formed Board of Selectmen. As with any new job, any new venture that we take on, there's a learning curve. Where do you see your learning curve being if tomorrow you're on the board?
I'm not even sure how it actually runs. I'm going in there to put out new ideas, try to bring conversations. I'm sure there's certain ways to do certain things which I don't know, and I'm sure they'll tell me I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
But we need to bring up difficult conversations that people don't want to hear, and nobody seems to want to bring up that kind of thing. You hear votes, and it's usually 5-0, and I go, there's got to be somebody against something.
Yeah.
4-1, 3-2, and what everybody has to realize is, even if I get elected, I may bring up these things, I still have to convince 2 other people to go my way. But I just want things brought up. I want people to hear different solutions, whether they like them or not. And like I told all my friends, I guarantee you I'm going to bring up something that you're not going to like.
So give me an example of where you have seen the disconnect in, what has gotten you frustrated at town meeting, or do you go to select meetings?
I don't go to select meetings. I stopped going to town meetings years ago because they seem to be the same people talking about the same things over and over again. And when I was younger and you went to a town meeting, there'd be 250 people at the town meeting when there was 2,000 plus in the town. And now you have 22,000 in town and you have 250 people there. And I guarantee they're very dedicated people and they push for what they want. But I don't even believe, I like town meetings, but I don't believe that certain things should go into law based on town meeting and only. I can understand voting on something in town meeting to put it on a ballot to let the town people vote on it.
So the town meeting itself as a mechanism for certain things.
Things, exactly. It's like
Can
the
you give me an
CPA,
example?
like the CPA fund,
Okay.
which used to be the land bank, which was I voted for, and then the state got involved, and they said, well, if you turn to a CPA fund, we'll give you matching funds, and that sounded great in the beginning, and then over the years they stopped giving us matching funds, and then it turned into, to me, a slush fund for special interest people that want certain things, and they can put them on there and get them passed at town meeting. And so they fill the crowds and get what they want, and I think that the town as a whole should be able to vote on all these things. I understand that if you push for something at town meeting and you get it on the ballot, that's what the town meeting to me is for now.
Yeah.
In the old days, when there was minimal people here, town meeting meant more to me. It actually was a greater group of different people. Now it's just a select group that actually put the time in, and you give them credit for giving the time in and playing the game they want. And the perfect example was when they bought the bank.
Yeah.
They voted it down, and everybody left, and people knew the rules, and they brought it back up again, and bingo, we bought it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way things shouldn't work. And I think people should decide what's good for the town as a whole,
Yeah.
not for special interests or a group of people. And the financial situation we're in now, where we're spending and tax rates keep going up, you've got to stop doing some of these things. Even though we need it and we may want it, let's concentrate more on maintaining what we have.
So when you look at the spending, and I know from the information that you had sent to me, there's the spending in town is my words, not yours, although it may be reckless, or is it excessive?
Excessive. It's not reckless. I mean, everybody that's putting these things out has a reason for doing it, and
Yeah.
they're all good reasons.
So how could you see yourself helping in that issue, helping in the spending issue as a select?
You'd have to wait. A perfect example is with the debt exclusion we're coming up with now for the $15 million.
Yeah.
You break it down. You don't put it all together in one bunch. You do it that way because you want to get it passed. You have different things that different people in town want, and if they want that one particular thing, well, they're going to vote for it. They may not want 4 other things, but they want their one thing.
Yeah.
So you break each one down, and for the town to be in such a dire strait where they need this much money all at once means somebody has not been maintaining. That these things are going to come up. You need repairs all the time. But to lump them all in one means the planning is bad. Somebody hasn't done their homework, no one's paying attention to what's going on. And then they just say, okay, here, pay for it. And I don't believe in that. I believe that you got what you got.
So you're believing chunk it down.
It should be, and it shouldn't have been all in one bill. I mean, you could have said, well, could we need a boiler and a system for a school last year, X amount of dollars. Here's what we spent on maintenance. It'd be
Yeah.
more efficient for us rather than maintaining this and give us figures saying to put a new one in.
Yeah.
And not all of a sudden, well, we need this, and this, all lump it in together. And whether they need it or not, who knows?
So let me ask you this: at town meeting, do you think it will get a 2/3 majority vote and go to the ballot?
I think it probably will, yes. I mean, because the people that are for certain things will go in there and vote. And
And
they're
do you
going to
think
get on the
it'll-
ballot.
Do you think it'll pass?
At the ballot, I do not think it'll pass.
You don't?
I think it'll pass at town meeting.
Okay.
But who knows? It depends. Who
you-
knows how what people think?
You never know, exactly. The recreational marijuana, I almost said medical
Yeah.
marijuana, recreational marijuana, where do you stand on that?
I'm for it. I mean, I've had no problems with marijuana for a long time. You can get it anywhere you want. You can go into Mashpee, you can go to other towns.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not keeping something out of town. that, we don't want it in this town, they're gonna get it anyways. And if it's free business, if it's legal and it's done correctly by the law, well, then do it. I mean, it is what it is. And it's been voted on by the state, and follow the rules.
Yeah. In your profile in the April 1st Sandwich Enterprise, you said that should you win a seat, you're not really going in there with an agenda. In fact, I think you said that even before the cameras rolled. You're a guy that's got some things you want to address and say, but you don't have an agenda. And I think you even alluded to, you're not a career guy that runs from one office to another and always looking for the next thing. Am I characterizing that?
That's 100% right. Okay. I really don't run for any office. I would like to stay by myself and complain to my friends, but this time I had to come out.
So in that article, you had said the boardwalk replacement is an example of the town spending money it doesn't have. You're against banning plastic bottles, adding money to the fire department to offset overtime costs, and the tax rate is too high, and you're not happy with the current Board of Selectmen.
I want to say, I'm not unhappy with the actual Board of Selectmen. I know them. I know people on it. I'm just unhappy with the way that they're voting and the way they're going, what road they're going down and following.
Got it. So would you, and I think there's a healthy way to do this, do you see yourself as a disruptor?
No, I'm looking at myself as a person that's outside the box, looking in with different views, with different ideas. I've always been brought up that if you don't have the money, you do what you do. You can do what you can do. You fix what you have. You don't need new. I don't think the discussion gets there. If people sit in front of the selectmen, in my opinion, and say something, they listen to you, and I'm sure I'll listen to people, but if you don't have a whole group of people behind you, a lot of people's minds are already made up on which way they're going, and you're not going to sway anybody. Mm-hmm. But if I get on to the board, at least I'll have a much better chance of getting an opinion across that I believe other people have. Yeah. And they'll listen to, I would think, they would listen to it more closely.
Yeah. Of the candidates that you're running against, is there anyone that you would endorse that you'd want to sit on or sit with?
One of them's a good friend of mine. I have no problem sitting with anybody. I don't want anybody to endorse me. I don't want to endorse anybody else. Everybody's on their own. The one thing I'll say is the way I interpret the other three candidates is I'm more conservative.
How so?
Just with the way I spend, with the way I want government involved. You make up your own decisions. You live with what you got. And I don't know how to say it, but I look a lot harder at things, spending money. And it's probably mostly a money thing. I've been brought up. I'm not poor. I've worked all my life. I'm retired now. And it's not like I'm trying to save myself a buck. It's just my son lives in town. And he gets amazed when he looks at his tax bill. And he has a good job. He pays it. But it's just the way everything's going.
Yeah. How do you feel the town handled the mask mandates, particularly in the school system?
I had no problems. I have no kids in the school system, so I really didn't follow it. I'm for masks like that for a certain amount of time. When you're dealing with an unknown, you have to be overly precautious. At one point, where people are getting together anyways, like now, I don't really see it because you're going to get it somewhere else. It's not as bad, and we know more about the actual virus, whatever you want to call it. So now it's a choice. I would say if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. You don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask.
Yeah,
it's freedom of choice.
Plastic bottles. Why are you against it?
Because that's all it's going to do. It's a great thing on paper. You have to. If you were to get all of Massachusetts to do it, or all of New England, or all the United States, that's a great way to go, if that's what you want to push for. But to ban them in Sandwich, I personally buy my water in Bourne already because it's cheaper at Market Basket. So it's not going to stop me from bringing bottles of water in. It's not going to stop anybody from bringing water into town. What's going to hurt is the stores that are selling the bottled water and the bottles they want to get rid of. And it's not going to solve anything, but it sounds good, and it's a feel-good type of law to me.
Yeah. What about the boardwalk?
I feel right now, in my mind, we have a building inspector who could go down there and look at the supports and tell me whether they're good or bad. And throw some stringers on there and fix it right away. The stringers blew off in a storm. It lifted them up because of the water. To me, and they floated away in whole chunks. To me that means it was attached wrong. The nails rusted or whatever it was. I believe the supports, in my mind, are still good. I haven't been able to go down there and look at them. You're not supposed to go down there. But I see no reason why a temporary fix, which could be permanent for 3-4 years, can't be done. You go to R.D. Williams, which is a rough saw mill lumber, get things milled up for you, bring them down there, 3 guys can do it in 3 or 4 days. I believe we have a maintenance person in town who, I don't know what his actual job is, but he could grab a couple guys from the DPW and get the job done in a few days.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they don't do it. You can't build for 10, 20, 30, 40 years like they're saying now, because you don't know what's going to be in 30, 40, 50 years.
Right.
Keep it open, keep it repairs, go down there every year, twice a year, check the whole thing out, and just put some time and effort into maintaining it.
Yeah. When you look at, and we're tight on time, so in a couple of seconds here, tell me about what you feel the top issue, the primary issue is, or main concern is for people in our community. What's getting everyone's attention right now?
Your tax bill. And that's 100% it. You know, people that are on fixed incomes, it's going up. It is. And like I talked to my friends, I go, things are going up, but you're not seeing much for the money. You know, if you were seeing things for the money, don't get me wrong, you know, you have a senior center, you have a new police station, you have a new fire station, you see things, but it doesn't really affect them. The senior center will affect some people, a certain amount. But in general, it doesn't. You know, you drive down the road, everything looks the same. Just your bills keep going up. You're not getting. Let's say if you got trash pickup, you push for that just for one thing. You know, at least you go, well, I spent $2 million on this, but they're picking up my trash. I'm getting something out of it.
Right.
As a whole, not as a group, but as the town as a whole.
Yeah.
And nothing really is getting done for the town as a whole. It's individual things. You know, we'll build this for you. We'll build this for you. We'll do this for you. Vote for this. Vote for this. And then that's not the way I like things to be done.
So I'm going into the polls May 5th. I've got my pen hovering over these names, and there's yours.
Right.
Why vote for you?
Because I bring a different attitude. I'm very opinionated. I don't beat around the bush. You know exactly how I feel if you ask me a question, whether you like it or not. People that know me know how I stand. It's not, I'm going to vote for what's good for the town as a whole, not for individual things. And I hope to somehow rein in some costs. There's ideas out there how you can lower budgets. I also believe that the selectmen should be in charge. They're in charge. The town manager and all the heads of departments work for the selectmen. They don't tell you what to do. You tell them what they should do. And they should come to you, and if you tell them this is your budget, they come to you with a budget. With that, and they have to cut things. That's their job. You know, well, if I only get that, this is what I have to cut. Okay, well then let's think about it, because you can't tell them how to manage their group, but you can tell them what finances they have to manage their group, and they have to make the decisions. And if they don't want to do it, well, you can move on.
And you want a seat at the table.
Exactly, to get my points across.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much for being here, Doug. You definitely have a lot of opinions, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Nice
you
to meet
so
you.
much. Stay sitting there just for a second. Thank you for joining us. We're definitely trying to bring as much information out to the community as possible, personal opinions, personal perspectives. In this conversation, we hope you've learned something today. I'm Greg Anderson. Hope to see you at the polls Thursday, May 5th. We'll see you soon.
The views expressed in this program are the views of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the SCTV staff or board of directors.